everyone, myself Vaibhav. In today's session of Visual JForex, we will be continuing our algorithm development using the indicator negative directional indicator. This is the indicator which gives us the idea for the bearishness in the underlying instrument, and for this particular algorithm we are using this indicator in conjunction with the ADX. So taken together we will be getting the idea, the situation in the underlying instrument, whether this is the right time to go for the short sell trade. And this algorithm is going to be unique in the sense that we are not really looking for initiation of the buy trade using this setup. We will be simply focusing on the sell side. So let us get started. This is the Visual JForex board which has been developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA. In the last session, this instrument subscription was done. Then the position amount was defined and I got this minus DI blocks for the guiding of the trend, whether this is the time to go for the trade. And ADX, as I said, we will be using both of these indicators. There is the historical candle blocks. First is of hourly time period and then the candle period for both these blocks. Candle 20 and candle 21 is 10 seconds. And to define the condition that there should be at least minimum of difference between the opening and the closing price for the last candle, we are also utilizing these calculations. So this calculation was done and we defined the minimum value of 5 pips, and then there is actual difference. So we will be comparing both these values to see whether there is enough of momentum in the underlying instrument. You can retrieve any value from here, users variable, and PD was assigned the value of 5. So in this session we are going to add the if blocks, and prior to that I will give you the brief refresher on how we are planning to execute the trade. So we will be looking for the initiation of the sell trade whenever we have the ADX value about 25, and as you are aware, in the classical sense, ADX is used to measure the strength of the trend. It doesn't really matter whether the trend is bearish or bullish. So in that sense, ADX is neutral, and we are relying on the minus DI, negative directional indicator, to figure out the trend direction. And we are using this for a simple purpose of finding the strength of the strength of the trend. So we want the ADX value to be about 25 on the hourly time frame, and then whenever we have the minus DI value rising above 20 from below 20, we will be looking to initiate the sell trade. And as I said, we won't be going for the market open. Rather than that, I think taking 25% of the actual price difference between the closing price and the opening price, we will be adding that to the last tick price and placing the order for the validity of 1 hour. And even the stop loss and target price can be kept dynamic. So whatever is the underlying momentum, using that price momentum, we can define these conditions for the execution of the trade. So now we get back to the Visual JForex board, and we have already carried out this calculation. Now what we need is to take 25% of this actual price difference, and for that we are going to need components, mathematical components, calculation expression. Here it is. This is the actual pip difference between the candle 19, candle open and close, and we will multiply it with a new variable. This will be execution difference 0.25 A1 into A2 and this will be execution point which we will add pips also, you can say, which we will add to last tick price to arrive at the initiation point for sell trade, and we will calculate that straight away. Last tick ask, and there is going to be a limit order we will add, so it will be above the current price A1 plus A2 . Okay, and after this we will also have to carry out other calculations, for which we will wait. First we will add the if blocks to define the conditions which need to be in place for execution of the order, and later on we will come back to calculate the order validity and also the variables for stop loss and target price. Okay, so for the time being I will take the multiple action and join it here, and we will need to disconnect it. Okay, blocks. And we want the output values for this indicator minus DI to be rising above 20 from below 20. So last hour's minus DI value should be about 20. So plus DI value 13 needs to be greater than 20. First input greater than second input, plus DI value 17 needs to be less than 20. This is the penultimate hours minus DI value. First input less than second input. Then we also look at the ADX value. ADX value needs to be about 25. First input greater than second input. We also want that there should be enough of momentum in the line, so this difference should be more than 5 pips at the minimum. Again, first input greater than second input. after that, I think there are not many conditions left. This is a fairly simple algorithm. So we have to look for initiating the trade now using this comparison between candle 19, candle 20 and candle 21's closing values. So whenever price starts to drop below the last hour's closing level, we will be placing the order. That means candle 19's closing value need to be compared with candle 20 and candle 21 candle close. So this is going to be the common input value. Candle 20 has the shift value of 1, so it needs to close below candle 19, first input less than second input, whereas candle 21 has look back period of 2 and it should have closed higher. So first input greater than second input. Okay, and after that comes the trading block pending open. This is going to be sell limit order. Okay, let us arrange this. Now we have to come back to the calculation part. The price has been defined. Default instrument remain as it is. Lot amount is going to be 0.1 million. Slippage 2 pips. Stop loss, we will keep it dynamic. For that, we will carry out the calculation, and also same for the take price, take profit, and order validity is going to be 1 hour. So we now need 3 calculation expression blocks to define these 3 variables. First, we will define the stop loss, which is going to be equivalent to the last hour's difference between opening and the closing price. So all we need to do is take that value and multiply it by 10 raised to the power 4. So we convert the pip from decimal points to the integer. That's it. This is simple. A1 into A2 And we also have to pay attention to the data type. The data type is going to be integer, and simply because of that fact I have to create the variable here with type integer, and use this value, and then take the stop loss, multiply it with 2, so we have twice of stop loss and the take profit to get the risk reward ratio 1:2. Variable A1 into A2, same thing again. I will create the variable here, and assign it to the result of calculation of this block. Now we need to define the order validity. Order validity is going to be 1 hour. For that, all we need to do is take last tick time and add 3.6 million ticks in it. If you want to keep order validity, say for example of 2 hours, then all you need to do is multiply 3.6 million by 2. In 1 hour there are 3.6 million ticks, so you have to define the order validity using multiplying factors of this value. I will create a new variable with start value of 3.6 millions. Pay attention to the zeros, number of zeros. I think I have got it right. You can point it out in case I happen to be wrong. Oh, I forgot. Name it. And this is going to be A1 plus A2. That's it. Now again data type needs to be long, so I will create the variable here, and simply assign it to the output. So we have defined all these input values for this block, the execution block, and I will join it to multiple action. Also we will color code it to see whether the trade flow is going through all the way till the very end. So here we are done with our defining of the conditions for the execution of the trade, and it was fairly simple algorithm in that sense. We are only looking for the sell side trade, and since this indicator doesn't really give us idea for the bullishness of the underlying instrument, it's better not to use it to look for the buy trade. There is a separate indicator, the plus DI, positive directional indicator, which we will look into in the next session. Have a fabulous time ahead. Do subscribe to the Dukascopy webinar channel. See you next time. Till then, goodbye.